my perspective, it seems like video conferencing and video streaming were always sort of two different entities, and that's, you can kind of see some of the providers there on the slide that provided the different solutions. But in my opinion, it seems like those markets are coming together, and I think it'll be very interesting to see moving forward whether the companies that provide the services come together, whether they're going to merge or be acquisitions or things like that. I mean, we've already seen some of it happen with like Enghouse has purchased Kumu, they Video, and now Lifesize just recently. So they're trying to, it seems like, consolidate video conferencing and streaming all into one solution. I think, while Zoom and Teams, Microsoft Teams, have done a lot of events over the past few years, they still don't have an online repository, so they're still partnering with some of these other providers. So it's interesting to see if maybe they start to bring out their own solutions or do some acquisitions. I don't know what others have thoughts on.
Yeah, I think it's the markets and consolidation is inevitable, but also the tools become so ubiquitous and easy to use, and technology is just it is a table stakes. Or ease of use of technology is pretty much a table stakes. I think where companies are missing opportunity is they have this vast array of very good tools that are interpretable together, can work together, but they don't use them effectively. And it's not a technology gap anymore. It's more of a knowledge gap that's sort of inhibiting the market to a large extent. These things are available to easily create content, and what's missing is the craftsmanship behind making that content very good, very relevant, and high quality.
And searchable.
And searchable, discoverable. Well, that's a gap in the market today, and there are video management softwares out there that aid that capability. Creating video and putting it online is the easy part, to small meetings to very large audiences. What's difficult is then making that content of a high quality, so people want to see it, it has value, it has production value. And secondly, like you just said, is making it discoverable and all of the add-ons that go to that. And that's what Microsoft and Zoom and WebEx historically have been slower to do, because they're much bigger organizations that aren't as quick.
To add on to Simon's point is, yes, it'd be great if it's discoverable, and with meetings or whatever presentations, panels, we can all now click a button and say, record this meeting, and we've all heard this meeting is not recorded. And great, and then I can, if I'm the one record, I can share it, but then I gotta make sure that it doesn't go past the circle of people that need to see it. And I think that's where a whole other thing that we have to keep thinking about when it comes to live video versus on-demand versus whatever is, especially in the corporate world, of who can see it, who should see it, and maybe more importantly, who shouldn't be able to see it. Because if we're having some sort of a board earnings meeting, really there's only so many people that need to know it until the numbers are properly addressed, corrected, everything's been properly discussed, and then announced. And if anything out of that is loose in the wild, it can take your reputation, it can take your stock, it can take the company. And all of those factors and items need to also be taken into account when thinking about, the corporate stuff that you're doing, the corporate streaming that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like anything can get out at any time now, and you've seen it with like the firings, like the very poor firings that people do, and Joel had come up with another case study of just a CEO that said something in a meeting that seemed insensitive, which in the larger context of what they were talking about was not that big of a deal, but the little one clip was pretty insensitive. So thoughts? Additional?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a whole other thing in corporate communication and just overall enterprise broadcasting that we haven't had to think about pre-pandemic because, again, the technology was just what it was, and it wasn't having to have the reach or scalability that we're used to now. So those types of communications, I think, historically would have been kept in a small room, and it was not online. And now, over the course of the pandemic, everybody moved wherever they wanted, and now all of those high-level, highly secure meetings are being held on your platform of choice. So organizations are definitely going to be needing to factor in how are you going to keep this stuff secure, or at least take the appropriate measures to do what you can to ensure it stays where it was meant to.